Ladies and gentlemen, this is your reaction, and this is pigs used to be overpowered by the channel TierZoo. Yeah, okay, I think it's gonna be more of that, boar style thing. I play lots of games, so I know how boars are dangerous, especially in Far Cry games. So maybe I could imagine one type of pigs who's like boar type, who's just more tanky and just, I guess, charges at you. I don't know. It's gonna be a fun video. I've written quite a few TierZoo videos already. If you haven't seen them, check out the cards. There's a playlist I've written for it. Check out the link in the description with all of my videos. Check out the end cards in the end, I guess. And yeah, let's watch this one.
One of the most popular roles in the game is the role of tank. Tank builds don't specialize in scoring eliminations on other players, or on using stealth or agility to avoid attacks. Rather, tank
What the
players
hell was that?
on other players, or on using stealth or agility to avoid attacks. Rather,
Lion.
tank players have one goal: to control space.
That was so epic. Did you see the lion just coming that deer like, oh, missed me.
They have to be intimidating, hard to move, and hard to defeat.
Let's be honest, whenever we play any RPG game that involves swords and shields and things like that, like Elder Scrolls, we usually play as a tank. Let's be honest. That's one of the most basic and default thing to play.
In cases, this involves being larger than your competition. Think builds like the elephant and hippopotamus.
Because tank builds are basically way too OP. It's like I don't have to use any cunning or any kind of smarts. I can just walk in front of you and punch you in the face, I guess, because I'm a tank build. Any damage you can do to me, I can, I guess, take it.
However, being larger than the Predator players in the region doesn't have to be the case. Enter the Hog build. Unlike most tanks, which tend to dump most of their points into HP, Hogs are actually quite balanced stat-wise, with great damage because of their powerful bite and tusks, and surprisingly high intelligence too. Hogs also have a massive advantage over most tanks in that rather than being herbivorous, hogs are generalists that can eat just about anything, making them extremely adaptable. Their adaptability—
Yeah, I saw that in that TV show, Deadwood, Blackwood, Deadwood. I think Deadwood, right? With Timothy Olyphant, that cowboy movie where they go to a land and creates a town there. It's a really awesome TV series. They even made a special long way after. Was it a movie? I think they made a movie long way after that too. So in that I saw how they just kill people and feed it to the hogs apparently. First time I'm like, what the hell? How is this even possible? But yeah, apparently it is. They eat meat too apparently.
Is why even though several different hog builds live across just about every server, they don't differ too much between builds. There are three I want to highlight: the boar, the warthog, and the babirusa. The boar is the largest and boasts the highest intelligence, HP, and power of all the hogs.
What?
There's also the warthog, the premier hog build in the
So boar is basically OP of all the hogs.
African server. Because warthogs would be significantly outgunned even if they had the boar's combat stats, warthogs opt for a more mobility-centered playstyle, using their agility to dodge attacks from assassins like lions and leopards. With that said, warthogs do also have larger tusks, which grants them a higher chance to crit for massive damage. Most of this video will focus on these two since they best exemplify the powerful traits hogs possess. The babirusa is a build I discussed in my flawed builds video. It has very similar stats to the warthog, but has the tooth regeneration ability, which in the right situation can be very powerful, but in the babirusa's case, means that unless the player frequently breaks their tusks, eventually they'll grow so long that they'll start inflicting stab damage on the player's own weak point. Not much else to say.
Yeah, I first saw that on Salmonella video. He also talked about these worst designs of animals and it was just effed up. First time I was surprised, like how is that possible? Because before I react to that video, my mentality was always like, if any species survive, they basically are, proper functioning species. Because otherwise they wouldn't have survived. That's what I thought. But there are lots of animals whose their basic functions are their enemy, like just like that. The horn just comes out and stab its own self in the skull and kills it. Even in that video, similar video, I say that like how did they survive to begin with all this time? Because my mentality was about this time, if any species survived, they probably is fine. That's why they survived. Otherwise they wouldn't have survived. So all species probably function fine. That's what I thought. But no, your own function is your enemy. There are some species that are like that.
About them, so let's get back to the hog overview. So in terms of special abilities, hogs have two main ones in addition to their omnivory. The first is venom resistance. Now, hogs don't actually have any special perks that specifically counteract venom, but they do have skin that's so thick that snake fangs are actually unable to deliver venom to the bloodstream, which lets them shrug off most bites without much concern. This makes the hog build an excellent counter to the snake class. Their second and more important ability is their snout, which has two important functions. The first is detecting loot such as tubers, eggs, and nuts. Pigs have an unsurprisingly excellent sense of smell, which is critical because, unlike most tank builds, they did not spec into the ruminant ability.
Yeah, that's everybody. We all know that. Whenever, remember whenever there is one guy who's like, really good at, I guess, finding food because he's that, more of a eating kind of friend you have, who apparently can smell from the distance that there's a food there, and everybody just instinctively call him, oh, you're a pig. Because of this, it's not just because he eats a lot, it's because he can smell it from long distance.
Ruminant players can eat pretty much any plant and gain enough experience to sustain themselves. But hogs have to find special, more rare sources in order to keep their playthrough going. It's not enough to just be able to detect loot though, especially if it's hidden somewhere below the ground. Luckily for pig mains, their most recognizable and impactful ability is their ability to dig. Hooves grant a speed bonus on rough and flat terrain, but they have three main weaknesses. They offer no mobility bonus for swimming. They actually incur a movement penalty on soft terrain like sand and snow, and they're pretty poor digging tools. Digging is a skill that's usually only available to players who've spec'd into paws or claws rather than hooves, but because pigs have snouts that are reinforced with both extra bone and cartilage, their snouts can basically be used like a shovel, which is perfect for unearthing all sorts of rare and valuable loot. Digging helps offset another big weakness that hogs have. They can't cool themselves down on their own. They don't have the ability to sweat, of course, since that's an exclusive human ability. So what hogs have to do is use their snouts to dig up mud to wallow in. Wallowing grants them a temporary heat resistance buff, which is crucial for succeeding in places like the African server. Both the wild boar and the warthog boast considerable offensive strength in addition to their other abilities. Their charge attack can deal significant enough damage to deter most predator players, and even completely eliminate them from the game.
Did that just happen? I have to see that again.
Deal significant enough damage to deter most predator players, and even...
Did that pig basically overpowered a lion and lion ran away? What is this?
Completely eliminate them from the game if multiple hogs attack at once. However, hogs used to be far stronger offensively, so strong in fact that at one point the devs had to nerf their attack strength. Back during the Miocene expansion, there was a build known by the community as the Hell Pig. Even though it was technically part of the Hippo faction and not a true hog build, it laid the groundwork for the playstyle that the later hogs would emulate. While it didn't have as high of an intelligence level as modern hogs do, it far outclassed them in both HP and power. Hell Pigs were still omnivorous, but because they had the strength to easily take down other players, they erred more on the side
Hell Pig. Damn.
of carnivore than today's hog builds do.
Look at that.
They hunted in packs and either took down prey themselves of carnivore than today's hog builds do. They hunted in
Look at the mouth, man.
packs and either took down prey themselves or used their absolutely broken intimidation abilities to steal loot from other solo predator mains. Instead of tusks, Hell Pigs had massive fangs that could easily one-shot most players from that time. Even though they had the stats to function as a tank, they were so powerful that they were usually played in mostly offensive roles. Eventually, after they
Oh my god, that is just terrifying. God damn, thank god that thing's extinct, eh? Holy shit, we would have another prime predator to be, to fear, I guess. Like tiger, lion, apparently hell pig. The pigs would have very different meaning in our head if this thing was still around.
They'd spent a good stretch of time as the #1 build in the meta, the devs dropped the Ice Age balance patch. Large, muscular builds, like the Hell Pig, couldn't deal with the ice damage and fell out of the meta, leaving their niche open for the modern pig build, which had thick cold-resistant skin and fat stores, to come in and wreak havoc. Now, at this point I've discussed all the relevant hog builds from the past and present, but I bet you're wondering why I haven't discussed these. And that's because the pigs that humans farm and spawn kill are literally just wild boar. They aren't a separate build. They have exactly the same stats and abilities, and on occasions where they've escaped, populations of feral pigs quickly revert to their wild form. It's for this reason that if human civilization ever disappeared, pigs would easily dominate most servers. So hopefully
Damn.
now you have a better grasp on the stats and special abilities of the pig.
I mean, that is true, isn't it? Any cattle that humans have basically is way over numbering things. So if they get out and become wild, of course they're going to dominate lots of places.
Build. I'd place them at the high end of A tier, being excellent generalist tanks that can adapt to just about any challenge. However, they lack that X factor to really get them into S tier like their ancient counterparts were.
That's true too.
Whoa. I feel like you're not giving our porky partners enough credit here. Pigs are easily S tier once you consider their unique function as a human support class.
Matt, I
Wait a minute, that's the guy from Extra History? Animation looks like. Wait a minute. Yeah, it is.
get that you and the extra credits crew think that bacon is worth a ton of experience, but being farmed and spawn killed by humans doesn't really make you a support class.
Oh, I'm not talking about livestock, my good man. You're completely overlooking their historical significance. Pigs were instrumental during the colonialization of the New World, arguably even more than horses. In fact, did you know, in some cases, pigs actually modified new ecosystems long before the Europeans did?
Perhaps I should reconsider.
TierZoo, I can convince.
No, you shouldn't. You know, this is not the kind of thing that you call a TierZoo. You just talk about if they're just, you know, basically at the current state, not what historically they did.
You, I promise. Just follow me over to our new Hogtastic episode of Extra History via the link in the description below to learn the full story. And as an added bonus, see a bunch of cute drawings of pigs.
I certainly will. See you there.
Damn, I did not know pigs were so overpowered, but yeah, that was you know, Deadwood scene. I remember that, you know, they just eat people. Whenever people think of pigs, people see them as some harmless cattle, like, you know, some basically grass-eating things that will just lie around in mud. But damn, the boars and things, they could be really powerful. Hell, that lion ran away. That is ridiculous. And of course, helping. Thank God that thing is just not around anymore. That would be just ridiculous. Alright, people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like, subscribe, check out the next Sunday. There's a link in the description. Check out the cast, check out the end cards, and I'll see you next time.